Good afternoon and good morning. Greetings from Sri Lanka, who have connected online, all connected online with us. Good afternoon. To start the today program, as per the agenda, the first item is welcome. Welcome address. I cordially invite Dr. Tamara Dice, Acting Director General, National Science Foundation. Over to you, madam.
Okay, thank you, Shanta. Good evening to all in USA and good morning to everyone from Sri Lanka. This is a good start and a good initiative taken by our chairman, Professor Ranjit Senaratne. And you know, MSF, we are mandated to promote science and technology research with a view to strengthening our research potential as well as to uplift the social well-being of the citizens of this country. And apart from that, there are so many other, a few other mandates. So we thought that we have been trying hard to do the necessary, and a lot of expatriates all around the globe, and we see that we are not harnessing their potential. So Professor Ranjit Senaratne took this initiative to get you all on board to uplift Sri Lanka's social and economic development. So with this, we had one session, and this expatriate platform was built, and so many expatriates are registered. And we had one session with Australia, and this is the second one with USA, and that was successful. And I hope this one will also be successful, and we can take everything, all our activities with more fruitful manner to take this country forward. And with this, I welcome all of you who have joined this session today, and also who have registered from USA in this platform, and especially the speakers today from Sri Lanka and USA. I welcome all of you. So with this remarks and wishing you all the success in this discussion, I want to hand over to Professor Ranjit Senaratne to give you the introduction in a more descriptive manner. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tamara. Now I invite Professor Ranjit Senaratne, Chairman of the National Science Foundation, who was instrumental in establishment of the digital platform. Over to you, sir.
Everyone, welcome. Good evening, our colleagues in USA, and good morning to our friends and colleagues in Sri Lanka. I also, as the chairman of the National Science Foundation, wish to extend the most warm and cordial welcome to all our valued expatriates from the USA. As our DG said, now Sri Lanka, we celebrate the 72nd anniversary after independence, yet ours is a developing country with a GDP of around 4,000. US, it is, I think, over $65,000 per annum. And one of the serious constraints we are having is we have a lot of natural endowments, strategic location, high literacy, all that, but yet our GDP is very low. The one concern, here serious concern is our S&T base is very weak. If we talk in terms of the number of S&T personnel per million, ours only little above 100, that is given in UNESCO. Even India and Pakistan having higher number, having about 40 times that number, over 4,000 personnel for 1 million. And there's a direct relationship between the S&T personnel per million and GDP. So this is a crucial issue that need to be addressed. So we can enhance this number overnight and make a lot of investment, but we see that there is an hitherto untapped and untouched potential. We have over 3 million Sri Lankan our expatriates scattered all over the globe, especially many developed economies. And around 15 to 25% of these expats are scientific, having also professional background. So this, and many of them are really keen to contribute. They have a throbbing heart for the motherland, but there is no pragmatic and credible mechanism through which they can contribute. So lack of such a mechanism had hindered their potential contribution to our country. So we thought now government is also laying great deal of emphasis on science and technology, enhancing S&T base for national development. We thought that nowadays, because of this pandemic situation, is also going through a bad patch. So we thought we should really tap into this gold mine. So that is with that intention, we decided to really develop the platform, whereby we would collect information from Sri Lankan scientific and professional expatriates, especially in developed economies, and try to find out their expertise, their background, their current interest, and their wish list, especially in regard to Sri Lanka development. And then we have our side, Sri Lankan, our scientists, our extended institution, they also have their wish list. So we are trying to do some matchmaking and try to forge mutually rewarding and reinforcing partnership. It could be, for some maybe one way, but on the whole, it will be a symbiotic and constructive engagement for both. Now, when we talk about this S&T personnel, actually that cut across all sectors, but initially we will, in keeping with our mandate, we will place emphasis on S&T and higher education, because 60% of our R&D person in our country residing in our universities, but sectors like trade, foreign direct investment, tourism, even industry, joint enterprises, these things also could really potentially benefit platform technology transfer. So we would like the expat population to really also serve as a guiding force. Now our country is now at a new course towards development. We would like to be a biological compass. Our national base is not very strong because it's only few. Our high-profile scientific professional entrepreneurs and leaders overseas, I think that would become a formidable force and can be a biological compass or lodestar guiding force. So your policy dialogue, even development endeavors of the economy. So that is why now we are trying to discuss how we could really, first this platform, during the initial discussion, we try to really create awareness about the platform, why we really decided to go ahead with this, and get to your ideas and views to make it more impactful, more meaningful, and more fun. So we started with Australia and going around the world. Then the second highest number registered in USA, third highest in UK. So you will be like that going around the world, ultimately in consultation with our experts. We would do a roadmap, maybe in different areas, in a mutually rewarding manner, to take our country forward. So I think to for a preliminary overview, this would be sufficient. My remarks would be complemented and supplemented by Professor, my colleague, Professor Prasad Jaivir, and technical details on the platform, its features, facilities, and what it is meant for would be provided by the SLASCOM, the Vice Chairman, Mr. Ashik. So with these introductory remarks, I will stop for the time being and invite Mr. Prasad Jaivir to say a few words about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the enlightenment, and it gives overall, in a nutshell, what is the objective and intention of the National Science Foundation on establishment of the this kind of a platform. Now I cordially invite to Professor Prasad, Chair Professor, Department of Computer Science, Sri Javaharlal University. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shanta. Maybe you heard that. I mean, we are getting the support from SLASCOM, that is the Sri Lanka Association for Software and Service Related Companies. So they will be helping us to meet the requirement of NSF to getting established this platform on which the expectation is to populate with expatriates as well as a local experts profile, and also maybe the capabilities can also be populated, and then we'll be thinking of provisioning some kind of a matchmaking facilitations on the platform. So Ashik, the Vice Chair of SLASCOM, will elaborate on details. So expectation is to have a very convenient, sustainable platform with promising results, since NSF is having the mandate to connecting all vibrant institutions in Sri Lanka. So hopefully we will be able to get something, a kind of a tangible contribution to the nation. Yeah, Shanta. Maybe Ashik will elaborate the details on the platform and technical details, so we'll let him do.
Thank you very much, sir. I think Mr. Ashik is with Sri. Mr. Ashik?
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Good morning. Now,
Prasad, are you able to present the screen?
Sure. Yeah, I will share.
Mr. Ashik, Vice Chairman of this, who support the establishment of the digital platform. So, Mr. Ashik will highlight the technical features of the platform. Over to Mr. Ashik, please.
Thank you, Mr. Shanta.
Yeah, these are the slides, huh, Ashik?
Sure, okay. Good morning and evening to all the distinguished attendees from US and Sri Lanka who are joining this webinar. On behalf of SLASCOM, which is the Knowledge and Innovation Chamber representing the IT BPM industry in Sri Lanka, it's my privilege to make a quick tour of what we are developing for the NSF to connect the science and technology professionals of Sri Lankan origin around the world. Also, beyond when NSF was in initial dialogue with us, beyond just helping build the platform, SLASCOM representing the technology industry here is hoping and planning to connect with the technology community in the US and in other countries. We hope to roll out this platform to collaborate in research and commercial partnerships in some of the areas where Sri Lanka is trying to develop intellectual property and deep skills. If I may give some examples in the area of fintech, artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, data science, cybersecurities. These are areas in which SLASCOM, together with the technology industry, is planning to build what we call centers of excellence for Sri Lanka. And we hope to receive your invaluable support in taking this forward. Now to just give you a brief overview of the platform. This platform will be hosted, it will be a sub project of the main NSF website, which has a wealth of information and research papers and articles that National Science Foundation keeps updating. It's under the URL nsf.ac.lk. Professor, I don't see the landing page. I mean, I see a title, but I don't see the landing page.
I don't know. This is what I received.
It was a PDF file which was sent across.
One second. Ashik.
Ashik, it's Naushad here from California.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're most welcome. Naushad and I studied together at the Senanayaka College.
You mean the sketch, no? Ashik?
Yes,
right.
The PDF
okay.
sketch, yes.
All right, okay, one second. Sure. This one?
Yeah, that's okay. I think there was a graphical one as well, but that's fine. This should be okay to present. Yeah, are you able to see? Yeah. So just to give a very brief overview, so this will be, there will be a landing page which is available to the public. So there is no registration involved. Essentially, an invitation from the NSF and perhaps from the government inviting Sri Lankan experts of science and technology community to join in this endeavor. There will be a registration link, and NSF has had past successes with the community around the world in some of the initiatives which have borne fruit. So we'll be showcasing that as well, so that people know that these sort of endeavors have happened in the past with success, and this is merely to scale up and accelerate this interaction with the expat community. The registration link will take you to a simple registration form which captures your basic contact details together with your country of residence or work, the discipline or the sector that you work in, and any institutions that you are attached to. It's much like a LinkedIn profile kind of thing, but with certain filters so that people can connect with each other through those filters. Beyond that, once the registration is submitted, NSF will have a back office process to confirm the registration, on which username, password, credentials, the standard will be sent by the email. After you log in, it will be a landing page where the most recent, so the whole platform will host a discussion forum, articles and publications, and a directory of registered people from various other countries as well as from Sri Lanka, and also a feedback form to provide suggestions and areas of recommendation. So all registered users can participate in any of the discussion topics that are going on. The landing page will highlight maybe top 5 discussions that are being active in the platform, and also feature some of the recent articles that are published. Anyone who's registered can take part in the discussions or start a new discussion topic that they would like to share or elicit some response and ideas. The publication side, NSF is curating it. They have internal publications and Sri Lankan publications that are there, research papers, studies, surveys. But anyone in the expat community are also free to forward or submit publications or articles, which NSF will then vet and then publish on the platform. to share with the entire community. The directory, it will be a full-featured directory with searching capabilities by name, institution that you work, discipline, sector, country, just to find the people whom you wish to connect to, or see who is in which sector, or in which, probably in some university or some other institution. Once you find the person, it will have their profile page come up. Beyond this, this is the phase 1, and we are hoping to get as many registrations as possible here. With our discussion webinar with Australia as well, there were a lot of discussion around making this matching engine, so to speak. We need to give some thoughts. We are kind of collecting what the feedback that we got from Australia. Perhaps in this discussion we will get more. Maybe with the UK, which we plan next, we will get more. Once we collect how this matching mechanism should work, we will incorporate that as a phase 2 for this project. That's all from me for the time being. And over to you, Professor Prasad.
Yeah. Shanta, yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashik, for elaborating on technical features of the digital platform. As per the agenda, now the time is for Professor Nadira Karunavira, University of Colombo. She is one of the principal liaison points in Sri Lanka. Madam, Professor Nadira.
Thank you, Shanta, and thank you, Professor Senaratne, for giving this opportunity. I don't have a prepared talk as such. I think as scientists, we all know the role of science and technology in countries' development. And as we all know, Sri Lanka is struggling to come up. So I think as scientists, both local and expats, we have a big responsibility towards this. That's what we feel. And I think as a scientist, I applaud the efforts of the NSF that is led by Professor Senaratne. And we all know that Sri Lanka has very limited funding dedicated for research as well, so that has been a limitation. However, there are a lot of ways that one could overcome those, as we all know, as established scientists. And in the past, I think, except for a few individual efforts, the potential hasn't been tapped as we heard, as the previous speakers quite rightly pointed out. So I hope this effort will bridge that gap. And I think it's important for us to find out what is missing, why it's not taking off. Because we all know that there are so many very well established scientists overseas who are doing very good science, but that linkage hasn't really happened. So it hasn't been that successful, not at all, I suppose. There's a lot of potential in developing those. So while applauding the NSF effort, I think it would be important to first find out what the missing pieces are in order to put this situation right. I think the digital platform is an excellent idea. However, it would need to be harnessed with more communication, both with local as well as expat scientists, I believe. As a laboratory scientist, I think wherever I go, when I visit an institution, I see overseas, I see there are a lot of linkages that they have made with their local counterparts. But sadly, that hasn't really happened with Sri Lanka laboratories overseas that are led by Sri Lankan scientists, originally Sri Lankan scientists. So there must be some sort of a block, some weakness that we should identify and then address to take things forward. So I wish good luck with the efforts of the NSF, and I think we can move forward. Thank you.
Shanta.
Thank you, Madam, for your valuable comments and remarks. Then I cordially invite next principal liaison point in Sri Lanka, Professor Deepa Bhandar. She's from University of Peradeniya. Over to you, Professor Deepa.
Hello everyone, nice to see you, like about 60 people online. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Professor Deepa Bhandar, Professor in Molecular Biology and Biotechnology. I'm currently the Director of Agricultural Biotechnology Center at the University of Peradeniya. So I did my PhD and MS at University of California, Davis, worked for the industry, a postdoc, and decided to come back home. I had a position, of course, but so that was our decision. And I'm still having a position at UC Davis as well. So I go there every year for 3 months during my vacation leave here. So what I think is this collaboration is really important, especially in the fields like ours, continuously developing. So I take that advantage with the US relationship to develop the university, in Sri Lankan, like for example, biotechnology field as well. So what I feel is, as Nadira mentioned, yes, funding is limited, not only in Sri Lanka, in the US, everywhere, I guess, right now. But I guess we can do a lot without money with a fat platform like this. So for example, so one thing is opportunities. So it's very rare right now. So, you know, for Japan, we have few scholarships for universities. But especially for the research institutions, I'm talking for other institutions as well. So I feel that the experience I got from the US is very different from some people got from other countries. So I guess this is like we can promote things like that through this platform. So if you the scientists overseas, you know, having some opportunities around you or in your university or elsewhere, we can use this platform to share that information. Not only to the university academics, but also for research institutions. So that is actually Sri Lankan universities, I would say, are doing better than the research institutions. So like TRI, CRI, the Department of Agriculture. So we have so many research institutions, but they have got less opportunities to expose to you know, other part of the world. So I guess this will be a good opportunity. And as well as collaborations that does not involve money, right? Sometimes we need some expertise, so we can use this platform. For example, now I am more into bioinformatics. So bioinformatics was not my major field, but I have these collaborations with Penn State, Virginia Tech, University of Virginia, which I learned from them. And then I guess we can use this kind of a platform to find out collaborators and to whom we can collaborate. Bioinformatics doesn't cost money except for sequencing part, but there's a lot of data available that we can use and share. And the other thing is the university ranking. I know there's a competition like within the country as well to become who is the first in the ranking. But I guess as Sri Lanka, we should fight with the other countries to become the top in the list. So for example, Peradeniya became the first in the ranking list. Top 500 universities in one of these ranking lists. Right. So for these kind of things, we need this, our university pages supposed to be shared in other universities, and some links with the universities will definitely help. I can give an example. Recently, our faculty initiated this program, honorary professorships. So it is a council approved position. We do not pay a salary, but they are our faculty members. So something like that. So we have some honorary professors even from UC Davis in our web page now. So they do help in different aspects, like conduct this kind of webinars or online teaching or research experience and things like that. So so that is what I feel. So we can do a lot as a group without involving money or searching for money as well. So another example is equipment. So for example, we have a confocal microscope which is not working. I know this microscope has been discontinued right now from the company, but there may be a microscope somewhere sitting in a US lab which is not used. So I know there's a way to transfer this kind of equipment to poor countries. So we can find out, we only need one part of the microscope, not the whole thing. Our one part is not working. So which is a very expensive machine here. So like that. So, if you have this kind of a platform, we can share this information and, get involvement from both sides. I'm sure even the US scientists will benefit this kind of, CSR projects and helping other countries, and who are getting a chance to their own country. So that is a good opportunity for you as well. So I'm happy to be involved in this project, and thanks to Professor Senaratne getting me involved in this, and to work with you all. Let's have a good collaboration and use this platform as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Deepa. Good elaboration, and in a way, in your speech, objective and usefulness of the platform will explain, I think. So thank you very much. Next item is, as per the agenda, I guess Professor Ravirajan from University of Jaffna is online. I cordially invite to express his ideas, insights about the platform. Professor Ravirajan, University of Jaffna. Over to you, sir.
Seems he has not joined.
Professor Ravirajan, I think maybe yesterday I confirmed he confirmed the participation, but maybe some technical technical difficulties faced with at his end. So we will see. Meanwhile, whether he will be connecting. So until then, we will continue the program. I will move on to the next item. We will turn towards the USA side. So we have our first principal lesson point, Dr. Bandula Vijay. Happy to see you, sir, online. So over to you.
Thank you, Shanta. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Professor Senaratne, for organizing this. For the last so many years, we have also at different levels tried to initiate collaborations. Especially in the last 4 years, I have been the ambassador for science, technology, and innovation for Sri Lanka. So during that time, we were just soul searching how to do this. So in that process, we had some interesting projects done and some good success. So in that process, we conducted about 4 symposiums right here in Houston, where faculty members from different universities, hospitals, and ministries have come here to visit us. And we had symposiums such as active learning, or learning about genomics, or learning about cancer treatment. And sometimes we had people come over to study about innovation and entrepreneurship, because we have several incubators right here in Houston that I'm also part of. So we had this opportunity. Then we also organized a conference on on personalized medicine, It was 2018, I think it was like October, November, excuse me. And this was done in collaboration with the WHO, Ministry of Health, and myself. We had it about 700 attendees. So I stated all these to kind of give an idea and validation that we can collaborate. The expatriate scientists can successfully collaborate with the Sri Lankan counterparts. And so my experience in the last 4 years is actually a proof that we can accomplish this. So based on these various symposiums and collaborations, we have achieved some interesting goals. There's a incubator that started at Sri Lankan University. I went there 2018, I think March or April, for the opening of it. We started several projects at KDU. I am one of the honorary professors at KDU. I have a research program going at KDU, developing electronic medical record system based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, which we have fairly good success. The students are doing it, myself as the research guide on that. So to those of the participants here today who are from the US, I see Professor Vipu here, and Aruna is here, and so many of my collaborators from Houston and other places. I'm basically trying to tell them that, yeah, this is possible. I had some good luck in doing so. So you just have to embark on this in this journey to contribute to our motherland in way of scientific knowledge. As I don't see Preeti or Professor Shiva in the picture, so I'm going to take the time allocated for them to consistently invite our friends and folks who are scientists here. We had a conference organized by Professor Nadira Karunavira in, I think it was in May, where we did discuss at length what does it take for Sri Lanka to be a global powerhouse in innovation. So while we are talking about bringing collaborations, my Sri Lankan counterparts also have to figure out what should we do in order for us to stand in the global scene as an innovator. So that is something that you have to work with the US counterparts to figure out how to establish that. So I have given a talk in that previous conference, but I will tell few things that I will highlight on the need and how we can stand tall in the global scene. So number one is we need an innovation culture. The innovation culture has to start from the beginning, from the elementary school, from your grade school to university. These people who you know as these famous cricketers like Sangakkara didn't finish his university education and start playing cricket. He started playing cricket when he was in grade school, probably with a tennis ball, right? So this innovation doesn't happen after you finish university education. It starts in the elementary school. So we need to get that concept into our education system. That innovation culture, you know that just about everything in the world that has changed how we live and work started in the United States. Yes, it's true that we have not done well with respect to this pandemic. I agree. But if you forget the pandemic component, United States has traditionally done extremely well when it comes to innovation. And that came from this, from the innovation culture. The education system needs some degree of adjustment where we emphasize on things like problem-based education, problem-based learning, rather than on fact-based education. So the people who have the responsibility on these things should consider really looking into how can we change this sort of fact-based education and move into a problem-solving or problem-based education, a practical education. This is another point that we discussed earlier at the conference. Third is teamwork. For most part, one of the things, teamwork is just doesn't exist in elementary school, grade school, and university level. So we have to indoctrinate the importance of teamwork. So teamwork is another thing that I suggest that the people who are at positions like you are, several university professors on teamwork. I personally, in my classes, I make sure the students who are basically graduate students, and my classes are very small, but I still divide my students into teams and make sure they learn how to work as a team. So this teamwork is important. The broad-based education is one of the things that the United States has excelled, because when we do not divide or separate the students into science and arts and commerce and other things at the 8th grade or 9th grade, the students who go through university education continue to learn other things when they are in the university. When they go to learn chemistry, they learn about sociology, political science, economics, and various other things in the university, although their major is chemistry. So this broad-based education, by far, in my opinion, is one of the most important factors that helps innovation. So these are some of the things, and I do not want to give a talk on these things in this platform. But if there is a way that the expatriate scientists who are here, this is the message that we need to communicate to our counterparts in Sri Lanka. So yes, we do not have these systems, but we can somehow figure out to install this kind of philosophy into the people who have come through this system, so that recently there was an article in a paper in Sri Lanka that we are 101 in innovation in the world. We are really come to a very low level, and we just cannot afford that. We need to change it. We need to think about innovation. Another thing is that we have several institutions, like we have, I don't know what you call it, the Sri Lankan Patent Office, and I think we need to kind of look at what do they do in the Patent Office and indoctrinate our innovators, inventors to see what is it that you invent. Is it something, have you invented something? Have you innovated something? So this sort of thing has to be brought out and discussed as well. The other thing that I have talked many times while I'm in Sri Lanka is, our labor cost is very high. I know personally that cost of labor in Sri Lanka is very high. So, but if we produce something, that value-added component, if we cannot compete with India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Vietnam, and the various other countries, then we cannot compete. Because our labor cost is very high, we must compete at a different level. In other words, whatever we produce has to be highly value-added. We have to come up with new ideas that will sell at 1,000 times our labor rate than 5 times our labor rate or 10 times our labor rate. So how do we do that? To do that, we have to come up with innovations and inventions that don't exist in the world today. You have to do things that are not currently happening in the world. We are doing it in America. Most of the expatriates who are the Sri Lankan scientists that I see so many in my television, my computer screen, these people are doing it, and they are Sri Lankans. They got their education in Sri Lanka. So I think Professor Vipulanandan discovered the smart cement, and I see his picture, so I remember that. Professor Aruna has developed various techniques on his subject. So we are Sri Lankan. So if we did it, we can do it in Sri Lanka also. It's not the money. It's definitely not the funding. It is something other than funding. Because in my own case, there wasn't funding for me. I'm not a rich person, nor did I raise any money from venture capitalists, but I built 4 successful companies and invented a whole series of things that you probably already know. So it is definitely not the funding. Funding is important, but you need those other things that I mentioned earlier. That is the innovation culture, the innovation infrastructure, of course, which I didn't mention earlier, the teamwork, and this mindset of solving problems in our education. So with that, I will stop, and I like the idea of the digital platform that you have built. It makes it easy. It's kind of a match.com for scientists, which is fine. And through this, we can meet each other and communicate and help each other. I think that that's pretty much I would like to say in the short time period that has been allocated to me. And again, we are working with very, very smart people. I have already said that Sri Lanka has the best brains I have worked in America for 40-some plus years. When I go to Sri Lanka, I always meet these counterparts and say, my God, this is a treat for me to even come and talk to these people. And that is, I'm telling from the bottom of my heart, this is true. Okay. But so we have to capitalize on it. Okay. That's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable ideas. You gave many couple of valuable ideas. Of course, innovation culture from the school early stages. So in fact, when we conceptualize the digital platform at the short term, expatriate and Sri Lankan scientists, researchers will be connected. In the medium term, of course, we are trying to use this platform for taking the science to the community, school children. In a way, this platform in the longer run, we expect to inculcate the innovation culture even at the school level. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable ideas. So there were, as per the agenda, there were 2 other principal lesson points to be connected, but as per the list, maybe with the last due to some problem at their end, we can't see those 2 online. So therefore, we will move on to the next item. So we have almost, if I'm corrected, 60 participants connected online.
Shanta.
Yes, sir.
Small interruption. Now Professor Aruna is here.
Right.
And Professor Upali, Samarjiva. Now, okay. Can you give
sure.
So that we will
right.
Perspectives, new insight from them.
Right, right. Yeah. So first we will invite Dr.
Yes, Professor Arun.
Dr. Arun, over to you.
Well, I don't have much because Bhandar addressed everything very nice, and this is what we always discuss and where we need to get everyone, connected from Sri Lanka. Actually, we with Bhandar, we have been working with various governments, and we tried to do a lot of work there. And in fact, last couple of years, I implemented 2 projects in Sri Lanka. One is growing Phalaenopsis as a commercial crop in collaboration with a Vietnamese private company. And it is now in the operation phase. They got funding from the agriculture modernization project. So I got this Vietnam company connected to these people, and they are working on it. And the same company is going to establish Paladopsis production company in my university, Texas A&M, that is linking the floriculture program and the business partnership. And there is another one going on at the moment to produce avocado oil in Sri Lanka. And they are now finalizing their factory there. So these projects I just personally involved and helped them to set up everything. And previously I submitted 2 proposals to the government, but nothing worked. When I submitted, they were very, very enthusiastic, but nothing moved. One is the research on cannabis, and currently I have $5 million US dollar grant studying cannabis in US, and I saw several newspaper articles about cannabis in work in Sri Lanka. I don't know whether they got the right essence of it, because they think when you say cannabis, it is ganja, but there are much more than ganja, because we grow here industrial hemp. It is basically cannabis sativa, but a different strain. But there is a big mess in this plant species, because it was banned for about 100-150 years time, and it was in the hand of illegal growers and breeders. They bred the plant to get the narcotic effect the most, and but they never think of the medicinal value and the other fiber and the seed oil production and all these. So we are now working on fingerprinting genetically, chemically, and botanically all the cannabis strains in US, and helping US Department of Agriculture to streamline the cultivation process. It's a huge business here now. And the other one I submitted was to study the safety, efficacy, and quality of plant-based health products in Sri Lanka. Mainly, you know, there are so many companies producing various herbal or Ayurvedic products, but we don't know the safety and quality of these products. And in US, I'm working with US FDA to standardize the herbal dietary supplements in the market. So we found a lot of issues, and I really see Sri Lanka also have a lot of issues in the products. There is no way to study these and make the quality product which can go to the international markets. And so I am always open, and I have biggest Sri Lankan team in my lab. In fact, I am the chair professor of plant and environmental science. So always I welcome Sri Lankan visiting scientists, and I can give lab space and any help they need. I'm happy to provide, and we have a very good Sri Lankan research group here working together. So I'm willing to help. It's time for us to work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your, I think a lot of things are already happening, and your kind willingness to share the lab spaces. And so we hope this will prosper and foster with the digital platform with more connections. Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Professor Upali, Professor Upali Samarajiv.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, having lived in Sri Lanka for a long, long time and crossed the seas to this part of the world, I see two sides of the story. We see that there are opportunities in this part of the world. We saw it this morning from the two speakers. On the other side, we see the Sri Lankans saying we want to go out, we want to do things, and we have no opportunities. What I have seen during the last 3 months, having gone through 6 publications, having reviewed 6 publications sent to NSF and several other organizations for publishing, I recognize certain very, very important aspects that NSF has to address. Firstly, I see all these papers have poor writing skills, poor language skills. Now that we need to put right. Now when I go back to year 2000, when I examine the whole research system in Sri Lanka, I know there were, to be exact, 126 senior scientists publishing in journals abroad. Today, I don't think it has doubled. So while we have that kind of senior people who could do work, when I look at the next generation of people who are coming up, who are trying to publish, I don't see the same effect, same capability that is coming. So we need to make our people more aggressive, more committed, more focused. Why I say that is, first I said the poor writing and skills. The second problem I recognized was there's a massive weakness in data generation and data interpretation. They may have very sophisticated equipment. Some of them I could see. But I realized that the people are not equally sophisticated to work with those equipment. So we need to address this. Now this arises mostly from the fact that the research proposals that are weighted at different levels are not adequately addressing the methodologies, techniques, data generation, and data interpretation. So to look after that aspect, I think the NSF has to play a big role along with the institutions to upgrade the skills of the young researchers in Sri Lanka. I know the NSF has been conducting many training programs on scientific writing, research, conducting research, and all that kind of things. Same thing is being done in several institutions also, I'm aware, but it hasn't had the desired effect on the research community. So if we are to become competitive, if we are to come up, if we are to do well outside Sri Lanka and show that Sri Lanka is developing, then we have to start thinking of developing this younger mass of researchers. And I request the NSF to address this issue in whatever way they could, so that we get better younger people who would do research, who would be competitive, and who would be aggressive enough to go out and work in this part of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will take down the valuable comments. Of course, apart from the digital platform, we will take this valuable comments. Of course, we have some grant schemes and targeting the young researchers, emerging researchers. Of course, we will focus our future activities towards improving their skills on proposal writing and paper publishing. Of course, in a way, this platform also will facilitate them to engage with senior researchers, senior eminent scientists like you, so that in a way, even distance, through distance learning, platform will, in the main run, it will facilitate to upgrade their skills, of course, in some way. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Shanta, one more thing. Professor Vipulananda,
Yeah.
Bhandar referred to, is an outstanding top flight scientist professor. Please invite him to
okay.
share his thoughts with us.
Sure.
Vipulananda.
Professor Vipulananda, over to you, sir. Our cordial invitation, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me talk?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I think you heard a lot of the experts share their opinion. My one way is to really see what is critically needed in Sri Lanka right now, so that once you'll identify few topics that we can focus on, we will try to do that. In the day, I have also graduated a lot of Sri Lankan students. They're all over the world now from my University of Houston, but I would like to help. And I have done some presentation at the Institute of Engineers in Sri Lanka. They're all now broadcasting those. So you all want to look into that. But I think for us to get started, rather than coming from top down, we would like to go from bottom up, identify some critical areas in different expertise, different areas, and then some of us can come together, put our thoughts together, and see how we can collaborate with Sri Lankan institutes and research institutes also. Even we are talking about even collaborating with companies and other activities also. So I think need is important. What is needed for us to start moving forward? We can come from top down. The top is a little challenging, but we go from bottom up to really identify the problems, then address it. And also education is priority. Students have, as Bandula said, we have to really motivate our students, some of them to be inventors. And it's not easy. It's not easy because a lot of us just learn the routine things, but we have to find few niche areas to bring people into innovation, to move forward, to compete with a lot of countries around Sri Lanka. Don't get me wrong, everyone is up there competing, and we want to raise our platform to their level, or even Mandula said much higher, but we have to work at it. We have to work few areas of interest, and we are an island. Definitely one interest is how can we use the sea resources, ocean resources, which can be a future for Sri Lanka, because we have access from all around, right? It's an island, and ocean resources are slowly being looked into, because we have world has used the land resources a lot onshore. Now people are looking for offshore resources to build the future of the country. So Sri Lanka has a good opportunity to look at that. You know, we are looking at even looking at using seawater for fewer applications, not everything, but can seawater be used for some replacement of treated water to do better things? So I think it's good discussions we are having, but we will have to see how we can start from bottom up to really move forward to make an impact at home. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Of course, we will take note. In a way, platform, this initial discussion will focus on the improvement towards the platform. But of course, as you highlighted, afterward the first round discussions and things, the next phase definitely will go into our Sri Lankan researchers and bottom level, grassroots level, and even we will depict the problems, issues, major needs of the grassroots level to the platform. Of course, we can do that, I think. Thank you very much for your valuable thoughts. Yeah. Professor Senaratna, any?
No, okay, now we could, sorry for this delay. We had useful contributions. Now you could invite our expertise to express their views.
Yes, sir. I think our USA other PLP now online. I guess Professor Preeti Gunaratna. Is it all right if we give a couple of minutes to her? Is she ready?
Yes, briefly.
Professor Preeti Gunaratna. She was online, I think. Anyway.
I think you get to, huh?
Yeah.
That's now.
Then I will open the floor to all so that you can now start giving your valuable ideas, views, comments. I open the floor to all.
This is Naushad Carter from California. I have few comments. Let me start with Professor Kumaraswamy Vipulanandan. I think it's important that we perform a comprehensive need assessment from which then we can, match and bring resources together. Otherwise, it might go into all kinds of, directions. For that, I think curation, the online curation might be useful in that process. So I think we have to have first comprehensive need assessment. Professor Vipulanandan, Israel has done something very interesting with their ocean. They started producing or growing sea asparagus, which are now available in North America. So, even they're growing stuff. So I think, Sri Lanka has quite a bit of potential in that sector. Although last week, we were about to get destroyed by that 270,000, tons of crude oil. Ship tanker was, got fired. On Professor Bandula Vijay, the innovation culture is very difficult to bring in at once. It's very hard because you have to learn very early on in your life. But however, I think we can learn something from Japanese. They didn't at first go into full innovation or invention. What they did was they partially enhanced whatever that was existing in the world, particularly Toyota, right? Or even other sectors. What they took is they took a lot of things from the US, they enhanced it. They added some value, which others were not doing, which created value. So which means, we don't have to compete with Bangladesh and Pakistan and Indonesia or other places where, they are trying to compete with labor cost. We can go with little bit of enhancement that can be used or create value. Chinese, the company that is now one of the largest, home equipment companies. What they did was, they just copied what General Electric did with their washer and added some enhancement, which basically created, an innovation or enhancement to clean soil in their washing machine. So they were able to clear and clean potatoes for totally different industry. And they made it smaller. So small houses and even domes could afford. So what we can do is we can enhance whatever existing and allow students or postgraduate or researchers to do that. So that might be one way that we can sort of start that culture in Sri Lanka. It's very hard. And on Aruna Veerasurya, Professor, the cannabis has been, has been used in our Ayurvedic medicine for such a long time, right? It was not something like in the use. We used it properly, right? So I think there might be a lot of opportunities for us to sort of connect with medicine, with Institute of Ayurvedic Studies in Sri Lanka, etc. And on Pradeepa Bhandar comments, before 2000 or around 2000, there were a lot of computers that were transferred from the US to developing countries, right? From institutions. I think if we can figure out some way that we can, collaborate with some institution in the US or in other countries to get whatever that we require. For that, I think we need to understand what we need. Then we can approach all these institutions and they'll be willing to help us. We are a small country. We are coming out from this, a long, protracted conflict, and we have so many scientists. Sri Lankans have the highest, they have created goodwill. I don't know, for some reason. Sri Lankans have done very well in the US. So I think we can use all of that to get whatever we need. We don't need money per se. There are so many other ways we can collaborate with companies, etc., and institutions. So that's my comments, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other expatriates?
Hi, I'm Salih. So I am connecting from Washington, and I'm really happy to see this initiative. I have a couple of questions trying to figure out what's the expectation of this platform. Is it to connect expatriates to students, or is it to connect with like other scientists in Sri Lanka?
Yes, thanks. You are Salih Kanaika, right? Yes.
Yes.
So, actually, it has a broad spectrum. As I highlighted at the outset, we have higher education, so that involves capacity building of our young staff through postgraduate training, and also competency enhancement of senior staff through collaboration, knowledge transfer, and also then technology transfer, joint publications, collaborative research, and so on. And also we want to really, beyond science and technology, we also want to really, through technology transfer, in the long run, we are trying to enhance the competitive edge of our local industries. They need the technology to be globally competitive, because the global landscape is fiercely competitive. As Dr. Bandula highlighted, we need to really have new products. And I think if we have this type of collaboration, that will serve as a catalyst and could really ignite this innovative passion of our young scientists. So we will address the need now. Since now you talk about these young scientists, I think many touched upon, even now this Professor Upali Samarajiva. I will just take a minute to actually invite more responses from our valued expatriates. Now, in the past, our university was like a melting pot. We had staff trained in US, Canada, Japan, Australia, and Europe, or a dozen of countries. Now the opportunities from those countries fast shrinking, and now the vast majority going to countries, mainly China, Japan, Korea, and India. So mainly they are going around Asia, not going around the globe. So that melting pot is fast now disappearing. I think as also highlighted by this Dr. Bandhu, in order to have this creativity, innovation, we need to have different this perspective, look at from different angles. So if we have people trained in different parts of the world, that will bring new insight, new perspectives, that will be like then a melting pot. So we really like to, because at present through individual contacts, certain opportunities emerging in different countries are communicated to our young staff, but that is probably less than maybe only 1% of the potential opportunities available. But through this platform, I think they could now, if of course it is internationally, they will call for application, but they would also post the opportunities, openings on our platform, so that our local candidates could compete with candidates from other parts of the world. And then if they are promising and if they are deserving, then they could get opportunities. I think this will really give a really good break opportunity for our young staff to secure postgraduate opportunities outside Asia. We are not really underrating or undervaluing opportunities available in Asia. We do recognize and we are grateful for that. But we would like naturally to have a greater diversity so that that will enhance naturally the culture of creativity and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. This is really great to hear. I mean, I have helped several students, but these were mainly through local channels, like you said, either through these SL to college channels or so having a national initiative like this is really great, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can.
Okay, thank you very much, Salih. Yes. Any other?
Rajendra Senarata.
Yeah, you are joining. Okay, Ravi, just glad to see you.
Yeah, me too. Good morning, maybe everybody. This is Professor Ravirajan from Jaffna University. I'm serving as a Dean, Faculty of Science. I just want to share my experience. First of all, I'd like to introduce you because I actually did my PhD at Imperial College London and returned in 2005. Since then, I have been working here. The past maybe more than 15 years, actually, we have been having a good collaborations with the UK and also the Norwegian, few Norwegian institutions. And now what I feel is actually because the opportunity, to go for a training, short-term training is actually remote. And however, because we are managing with some few grant, we got some grant, from NOPAT. Actually, you probably know about that. The Norwegian government actually, they are giving a good funding to the University of Rugundu, and also now actually we got Jaffna also involved with that. So through that, actually, what we have done is we actually send students for 6 months training. MPhil students, 4 or 5 of our students actually went over there. At the same time, we conduct several outreach program. My field is actually solar energy, solar cells, and then we are giving some awareness program to the school children, and also we are training different level of the technical staff also in that area. So what I propose that similarly, because in states also you have several funding agency, and then so you collaborate with our scientists here, and then bring a few junior staff to your place and then get it trained. And Professor Sivanandan also helped us. He helped all the universities, University of Peradeniya, Rugunu, Kalaniya, and then he brought us. In fact, actually, NSF helped us for a short-term training that also initiated, and then we had a training, and then now we are actually conducting a mega research program that is on manufacturing of solar cells in Sri Lanka. Well, that is thin solid film solar cells. This ministry initiated that, and then our first goal is actually train. It's about 2,000 young, even from school students to higher level training, that is PhD and MPhil training also. So that is another initiative. So that what I said is actually because you all are in a good positions over there. Maybe you can actually find some grant and then write a joint proposal and then bring our youngsters over there and then get it trained and then send them back. That's all from my end here.
Okay, Ravi, many thanks. I wish to make a few observations. What Professor Arunavirus Surya mentioned about cannabis and also about promoting herbal products. These constitute high priority concerns, and we will be happy to formulate proposals and get in touch with Aruna, and we'll very much look forward to working hand in hand in a mutually rewarding way. And Professor Vipulanandan, actually Ocean, I was the chairman of the Ocean University. Actually, I was the one responsible for formulating the act to elevate that institute to a fully fledged university. So I always say future prosperity of our nation lies in the ocean, right? Now, just like our expats, that is another untapped and untouched resource, ocean. So actually our country, even at present, 8 times the landmass comes within the maritime area within the exclusive economic zone. So actually only 12% of our motherland is above water. That is also our motherland. Though we call Indian Ocean, that is our ocean. We call it, but it's Sri Lankan part. That is our territory, right? According to even international law. So we are very much keen, and there's no separate university. But people are not, then I will connect also them with you, and many thanks for your very pertinent and valuable remarks. Yes, a space for other our valued experts to express their views.
Hi, my name is Prashant Diage. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I have been working in the pharmaceutical and biotechnology product manufacturing area for the last 15 years or so. So in the wake of Sri Lanka is actually moving towards manufacturing, actually kind of ramping up manufacturing our own pharmaceuticals and other drugs products. And also the world actually with the emerging technologies like cell and gene therapy, regenerative medicines, there's a huge potential and opportunity, as well as there's a lot of gaps in Sri Lanka where we can fill with biomanufacturing expertise. So I was thinking about kind of establishing this kind of I mean, it's still probably maybe a private-public partnership. I'm going into more granular. I might be going into more granularity or beyond the scope of this meeting, but I still wanted to kind of lay it out here. So establishing the biomanufacturing capabilities, I actually improving and training our talented scientists into kind of doing more biomanufacturing or biotechnology related product development area. So, I mean, towards this purpose, I have been in contact with some of the private companies in Sri Lanka to establish this, especially to start off with the biomanufacturing support services, maybe like, a lab that we develop, like, the testings, the service providing services and things like that. So I have been, like, kind of collecting lab equipments for that. So my question is, like, my question and actually the suggestion to this forum where, like, especially the NSF can play a bigger role, how we are going to bring, like, use scientific equipment to Sri Lanka and also, like, how we can kind of get support from the Sri Lankan government, or, like, how we can collaborate with an institute like SlimTech and the ITI or the Industrial Development Board to kind of establish these kind of capabilities, especially a service biomanufacturing or biopharmaceutical testing manufacturing lab. I mean, this is not, I mean, we are not going to kind of dwell or rely on just the Sri Lankan business. This should be, like, providing services to the United States, Europe, China, India. There's there's a lot of opportunities in that area. So I'm just kind of providing what I was thinking about this. Actually, I've been trying this since 2009. Trying to establish something, like, it has never materialized. But I didn't try hard. But it seems like when Dr. Bandhu talked about, like, the collaborative environment and what he has done, actually my hopes actually came up. So it seems like now things are moving towards where we can get something done, and I would really be interested in, like, kind of either kind of collaborating with industrial partners, or like the universities or the research institute in Sri Lanka, where we can create a really strong biomanufacturing support network or services industry in Sri Lanka, especially to support emerging pharmaceutical companies in Sri Lanka, as well as the emerging biotechnology, gene therapy, and regenerative medicine areas around the world. So that's my 2 cents.
I think, as Victor Hugo said, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. So this time there's a lot of emphasis laid on really producing pharmaceuticals locally, and the government has laid a great deal of emphasis. Already now plans being drawn up. So this, Roshan, your ideas and we really appreciate your interest to really build linkages with our R&D institutions, academia and private sector, and forge ahead. And we will definitely facilitate and catalyze this process. I wish to add that because now in our country, we need to really have national analytical and testing facility, accredited laboratories. That is so far lacking, especially when we want to export without this satisfying the compliance requirements. We cannot really export. Only niche market certain may be possible, but really get to mainstream things not possible. So we are now in the process of really ascertaining the infrastructural facilities, high-end equipment available, which are actually underutilized. In our system, we don't have these 24/7 labs, right? In some places, isolated cases we have, but generally they are not optimally utilized. So we are trying to really harness this and also develop not only infrastructure, but also we have actually the downtime is very high. Sometimes the problem is very small, but it cannot be fixed. So we also try to develop this technical expertise. I think in this connection, probably our valued experts could really also contribute towards capacity building of our technical staff. Sometimes because the technology is fast developing, and sometimes they have been working some old equipment, but they have to be upskilled, and their competency enhancement necessary. So I have made a note of this, and NSF will really look forward to working hand in hand with you, Roshan, and thank you very much. And we are truly excited about this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sir,
yeah.
Ranjit, if I may say something.
Thank you, sir.
This Nalin Pereira, also in the pharmaceutical area, and Roshan and Nalin should get together, and we have a similar project in process right now. So may I ask Nalin to say a couple of words, please?
Oh, yes, great.
Well, I saw Nalin a minute ago.
Yes, I also. So.
Nalin, can you contribute, please?
Yeah, even I can see his hands up.
Is he mute?
No, he's not muted. For this, we can go for Subodha.
Yes.
I can see, yeah.
Female voice from US.
Yeah, Nalin, I think he's having some problems. Nalin, can you hear us? You have to unmute.
He's not muted.
Okay.
So we will take this.
Subodha, Charles.
Subodha.
Yeah.
Oh, Subodha, Charles. Yes.
Thank you. I hope I am audible. Thank you, Professor Senaratne, for putting this together. I just had a couple of remarks to make, and I also had a clarification. So to build on top of what Professor Vipulanandan was mentioning, the bottom-up approach, I wanted to point out that there are several organizations that are already in Sri Lanka that is trying to make this bridge between the expats and the things that are going on in Sri Lanka. For example, Salia touched upon SL2 College, which happened to be a very active organization a couple of years back. And now we also have organizations like IEEE. You might all have heard about IEEE as a main publisher of literature, conferences, and journals. In IEEE, there is also a volunteer-driven arm that works in Sri Lanka and does several projects. For example, we were actually trying to put together a research collaboration that links Sri Lankan researchers living overseas with the undergraduates who are studying in the universities right now. So then it works both ways. It's a win-win. Why I say that is the researchers will get an extra pair of hands, even if you are a graduate student working in a university. You get somebody to implement an idea that you have. And on the other hand, the undergrad, he or she will get a paper out of it by the time they graduate. So it was a nice program that we currently have. And we actually, as the organizers of that project, we were finding it difficult to get a platform to address the researchers because we were like contacting whoever we knew. So like a platform like this would come in handy in that sense. So just wanted to point out to even to Professor Senaratne that those organizations do exist, that even if maybe NSF might not have the manpower to connect with everyone at a very, like, when it comes to execution. So there are already volunteers, volunteer-driven organizations that can handle such implementations moving forward. And that's one clarification, one remark that I wanted to make. And the clarification was that, so thank you very much for putting this together. After this event ends, what would be the way to keep in touch with the people that we meet through the platform? If there are, so there were a couple of ideas that came in. What's the next set of, if I may call them, action items for the people who connected through the platform? Thank you.
Yes, briefly to respond that now, after this going around the world, now we are studying Australia, America, then we are going to UK, Canada, Japan, and so on. After getting their also feedback, we would be really drawing our roadmap, and we will also form then this similar interest group, this is a network of like-minded professionals called NLP, right? So that now it is a very broad discussion to touch base with each other and to create awareness of that. The next stage, we will now, we have the now database, then we will really classify them according to their discipline and interest and form this SIG 6 or NLPs, and then we will try to take forward in line with the priorities of our country. And we will also now in a platform, the virtual operation problem is no face-to-face. So it is important we have to keep our expats engaged with this, otherwise because our very busy life and heavy preoccupation, sometimes you may forget about this after some time. So we will try to develop some social media and newsletters e-form so that at least once a week or every other week, you get something from Sri Lanka, NSF, for our partners, so that will keep you engaged and see that this is not something just, it's a dynamic platform, not just static and sitting there. So we will try to get that. And also, we see that this Mr. Carter raised that issue, what we can learn from countries like now the China, India, even Greece, Taiwan. Many countries are really already tapped into this, and already they have developed industries, technology transfer made, and they have different really names for this, but they are already tapping into this and making good headway. So I think Tilina is there, she could probably amplify on what I say. So we will try to get this and then move forward. And thanks, Charles, for, I will communicate with via also email. I meet your father practically every weekend, right? And also I ask after you, so delighted to see you, and I will communicate with you, Charles. All the best, right?
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Hi, this is Nalan. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. This is Nalin Pera again. I'm from
Nalin,
live in
yes.
California,
Yeah.
and so I heard earlier another gentleman spoke about a pharmaceutical. You know, my background is pharmaceuticals, sterile injectables, and all types of pharmaceuticals. So myself and Dr. Bhandar Vijay, we are trying to work on a proposal to submit to Sri Lanka to help build a pharmaceutical whole system. You know, basically, we currently only have a locally built system in Sri Lanka. I know the new government, they wanted to expand it to self-sufficient. Sri Lanka is a small country to be self-sufficient with a bunch of different manufacturers. And our goal is to build Sri Lanka just like another Singapore, where we made Sri Lanka has a name for biotech, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and then make for export. Singapore is a perfect example, and currently a lot of American companies going to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is also building. It's a small country, and I think we currently have an opportunity to drive Sri Lanka towards a better name for pharmaceuticals. We do want to establish systems through maybe National Science Foundation can be a good catalyst, and to establish a group of expats like myself, like Dr. Bhandar, and like Professor Aruna, who has experience and knowledge in there. There's many others available through the National Foundation to make a data-driven, science-based policies in Sri Lanka, where that we can have a strong foundation to build a full system, not just making a bunch of medicines, but also starting our regulatory process, our quality systems, our laboratory and systems, and then also our economic policies where we can build it and export it. And what we needed is from the Science Foundation to have a strong voice and be a strong player in policy making, and have a government. It needs to be an organization where government go to get the expertise, expats, and to assist building the policies. I'm not sure how it can be done in Sri Lanka. I understand that we have a lot of capable bodies, but the government sometimes go to as a feelings mode instead of a science-based mode. I heard earlier Dr. Aruna said about the cannabis. I see there's a lot of noise in Sri Lanka about the cannabis, but if you look at the CBD oil, the medical properties of the CBD oil, it's almost a miracle drug, where I think Sri Lankan weather is ideal to grow it under the very controlled manner, and get the CBD oil, and then we can export it, and it's going to be a very high value added item. And so there's many more available. I think Sri Lanka has the good education system, but it's we need to make it as a practical and use expats' knowledge to build a good pharmaceutical medical device hub in Sri Lanka, just like in Singapore.
I think one way as a country, what we can do is we can identify clusters, right? Because there are so many different industries that are popping up and going out of business. But if pharma and medical device and, it's one of the clusters that we identify, then I think we can work with the government to prioritize that. But then again, that, within, pharma, are we going to be a contract manufacturers for generic, competing with India, or are we going to have high-end R&D facilities, right? So I think we have to, or even devices, what our sectoral focus within that. I think we cannot do everything, but what we can do is we can identify where we have competitive advantage, and then we can focus on that, and we can quickly get the benefits. Those are the low-hanging fruits.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Carter. You know, if you look at Singapore, they started in 2000. They're definitely not competing with India and China, and they made a niche because they have a very high skills workforce, and then they formulate the policies around that, and then have full government backing to support it. What we need is, I think we have a very big community of expats who has a know-how, and I think we have a good educated people in Sri Lanka. And what we need is we need to make a strong voice in the government to make sure we build the policies around that to help us drive it. I mean, we can definitely support it and make Sri Lanka. We don't want to compete with India. We want to be we want to be a go-to place, not a India,
exactly.
Place for pharmaceutical medical device when it comes to it. Just like how Singapore and Costa Rica is doing it now.
Yeah, I think, exactly. I'd like to add a little bit of into what's talked here. Like, no, it's not competing with India or any other countries. Like, actually, given the most advanced frontiers in treatment modalities like cell and gene therapy and immunotherapy, everything it's going towards more into personalized and precision medicine space. I think, given smaller market size and, smaller, very specialized areas, I think we as Sri Lankans, given our biotechnology capabilities and, the talents in Sri Lanka, I think we have an edge, and we have a competitive edge, especially if we go towards, these personalized and precision medicine areas where, in smaller batches, manufacturing of smaller batches are critical, right? We don't have to manufacture pharmaceuticals or biotech product in 2,000 to 10,000 liters scale, but because this is the future is going to be more personalized. We don't have to. We can create smaller, especially when it comes to gene therapy, cell therapy, these CAR T cell therapies for cancer treatments, immunotherapy. All those areas actually heading towards more modular manufacturing, in small scale prints. So I think we have given especially companies like Vega, the Vega Innovations, and these companies have a lot of capabilities where we can create smaller machines, creating mRNA based medicines in a very small bioreactors. So this is where I'm looking at especially in the Sri Lanka has a pretty good edge, especially with the high tech areas, and what Professor Bandhu said, they have created this personalized medicine, digital health space. I think that's where we have the edge. We are not going to create bunch of we don't have that much of edge in trying to create bunch of generics. We should actually focus on going into more branded generic, our own personalized immunotherapy, cell therapy area. So that's where actually we should focus on. That's the future, and we should not dwell in the past. So we should actually utilize the resources in Sri Lanka. We should train our workforce just to get into that area, get into these high tech medical fields where we have the. I mean, I have seen that, when you look at the, COVID-19 response from Sri Lanka, how many, I have seen, hundreds of these scientists, capable of performing PCR tests. It's just, it's not about doing the PCR test. It's about harnessing their knowledge, their power, their skills to kind of, divert into, leverage that technical know-how into other areas, so we can excel, especially in the high-tech medical field. So that's what I wanted to add there.
Okay, thank you very much, Ramesh.
If I may quickly add, I think NSF also should have a parallel effort, as Bandula quite correctly said. There are a lot of limitations on our local side as well. As a senior academic and a researcher who has strived to develop a team and with foreign funding. However, I know the red tape, the limitations, so those have to be addressed at a different level. it's not this forum, but I think NSF can influence policy to overcome these whatever the roadblocks that researchers face in moving forward, so we can get the maximum out of this kind of effort.
Okay, thanks, Adira. Now, I think maybe we are moving into
out of
right now. Actually, can we conclude by 10 o'clock local time? Another about 10 minutes time. Maybe too late for our expats in USA. Now time is maybe around 11, right? In USA, debate is
11:30.
Oh, anyway, before midnight, we can't move into tomorrow. So, and I think we have got a good number of responses in the chat box. I think that we could probably take up after this event. But if any members, now we have 5-6 minutes before now, Mr. Shanta winds up and make his concluding remarks. Any members could briefly add anything or complement and supplement what has been said?
I do have a question, Professor Sreenivasan. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
This is Hiroshan Hettiarachi. I'm from Michigan. I'm a civil engineering professor. I have had some interactions in the National Science Foundation a couple of years ago when I was working for the United Nations. I had a capacity development workshop in collaboration with NSF in 2014. My question is about the current mandate of the National Sciences Foundation. I mean, I heard a lot of good ideas. These are all good ideas. It's a good problem to have because everyone is so energetic and they all want to contribute to the advancement of the sciences in Sri Lanka. But I'm wondering at the same time whether there is enough capacity within the National Science Foundation to absorb all of this. And also based on the current mandate of NSF, is it more of an advisory body to the other ministries and departments related to the sciences and technology in Sri Lanka, and also the current collaborations NSF has with all these universities? Now we have close to some 15-20 universities all over the country. To me, it looked like more of a middle ground so far. A lot of academicians and researchers, they all collaborated with NSF, but NSF to me was not in the process of making sciences. There were platforms to publish material and to have discussions and other things similar to that. So it'll be really helpful if you can give us some idea about the mandate of the National Sciences Foundation and how you will advance this gathering of knowledge.
Yes, thanks. This Hiroshan.
Hiroshan.
You're Hiroshan, right?
Hiroshan Hettiarachi, yes. Yeah.
Hiroshan Hettiarachi. You want to know about the NSF mandate or whether it has also capacity to take these ideas and propose programs.
The practicality of the situation, yes, of course.
Now, in regard to mandates, emphatic yes. Emphatic yes. We are actually by the act, we are the NSF with the premier S&T institution in the country, which is over 50 years old, mandate to promote S&T for the economic development and well-being of the people of the country. So we have our research and international cooperation division. We have technology and innovation division. We have science communication and outreach division. We have S&T policy studies division. We have information science and knowledge dissemination division. Like that, we are equipped and armed with necessary institutional structure to take these ideas forward. but we do recognize we have a limitation in capacity because we are trying to address a huge issue which needs really expertise in a wide range of fields with cutting edge thinking and global perspectives. That is one reason now, while making the most of expertise available in country, at home, that's why now we are constructing digital platform so that we could harness that hitherto untapped and untouched enormous potential available with our valued experts. I think I briefly responded to Hiroshi, but we could discuss, but we have strong commitment, determination, and the government also has laid greater emphasis. I think we could work in concert to take this forward. There are, of course, gaps, right? Of course, but if we work together, there could be complementarity, synergy, and also hybrid vigor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any few questions, because I think Shanta may have got a lot in the chat box, but I see this.
Yeah, Sarat Chandrasekhar.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Good morning to everybody joining from Sri Lanka. It's 12:20 here, Tuesday morning. I'm calling from Toronto. I want to thank Professor Samarji for inviting me to this one. I do not come from many of your disciplines. I'm a sociologist, a social scientist, and my specializations are urban sociology, health and illness, and aging, human aging, and related areas, and demography. One of the things that we could share, actually benefit from this kind of gathering, is that we have 138 scientists living in Canada. They are of Sri Lankan origin. Biomedical sciences, engineering, computer science, environmental sciences, agriculture, and very few social scientists like me. Now, what we are doing now is we are putting together a compendium of research articles, the things that they have done. It's going to come out in February next year. Actually, Professor Samarji is one of the editors. So we thought that the things that they have invented here in Canada, I think we need to share that with the rest of the world. So that's what we are trying to do. And of course, with my personal bias, I mean, the idea that I listen to, they are wonderful, very creative ideas. But we also have a big problem with our social fabric. The social standards, the ethics, the morals have gone down dramatically. So we need to bring them up. Now that's where the social scientists can come and help and work with, I work with some of my colleagues like Dr. Sri Hettige of the Columbia University, few others like that. So we need to bring that as well so that the society will be ready to consume all the new ideas. Anyway, thank you very much for organizing this, and I will share this message with all the scientists that I know here in Canada, so that eventually they can join and we may be able to develop an interest group here as well. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Sarat Chandrasekhar, a sociologist. Actually, there was a vacuum there in our discussion, and in the 11th hour, you feel that vacuum and our appreciation. We do recognize the issues in the social fabric, which is virtually torn asunder. So we like to really work hand in hand. The series on our the working committee, and he's a very dedicated person. Glad to hear you already work with him. So we will carve out a separate program to draw upon the expertise available in Canada. We will go to UK and then come to Canada. So we will have a discussion. Thank you so much, Anupali, for introducing the Sarat to us and enhancing this forum. Thank you very much. Any other? Otherwise, can we now, since it's now, yeah, I think almost, yeah. Can then there may be many in the chat box we would take up and respond to in due course. Now, could I invite Shanta, your vote of thanks and also conclude remarks briefly, because I think we may be leaving It is now.
Thank you, sir. Of course, we while running through the event, we scan the chat box. There are some comments, of course, since we are running short of time, I will take one important one. It is there, grassroots level actions we should take and build an action plan. In a way, again, it sounds already highlighted bottom-up approach, I presume. So we will take a follow-up on this. To conclude, it is a great pleasure for me to engage with such a think tank and expatriate base. So I would like to thank all valued expatriates and Sri Lankan principal liaison points who connected and committed online and dedicated towards this event, who all you take in the time out of your busy time schedules. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable ideas, comments, proposals, and we will take, we have already taken all those comments and proposals, ideas in black and white. We will take follow-up actions on that. I can conclude that before conclude, I wish to recap, just to recap what is valuable ideas highlighted very briefly. Value addition to herbal, medicinal herbal products, upgrading skills and capacity building of young researchers, data generation and interpretation, bottom-up approach, grassroots innovations, and why not we inculcate innovation culture from even early stages, even maybe from the school level. So one expatriate suggested and proposed, why not around our island, the ocean is, in fact, some time back, government came up with blue-green economy. That means harnessing the ocean resources. Of course, Sri Lanka yet to boils down into a implementable, actionable ground level plan. Also, our valuable expatriate highlighted that why not we don't want to go for high-tech, I mean, breakthrough innovation, which need high R&D investment, capital investment. Why not incremental innovation? Maybe reverse engineering and somewhat incremental and incremental innovation, maybe as a short-term approach. So then, of course, pharmaceutical industry and capacity building and biomanufacturing in Sri Lanka. And also it was highlighted some already existing industry institution partnerships for R&D commercialization and high-tech, even high-tech areas infused with the high-tech areas. Of course, Professor Senaratne highlighted the platform also, not only the matchmaking, but also our R&D equipment sometimes underutilized. Sometimes if it is breakdown, many months it is not fully utilized. So our expat base shall harness for our capacity building of technical staff, so that it will at the end of the day will ensure optimal utilization of our R&D equipment base. So also it was highlighted we will not only to embark on many projects, but we will have some kind of earmark prioritized areas, and we will look for areas strategic advantage, maybe competitive advantage. Of course, in a way, Sri Lanka may need to harness, I mean, keep an eye on the emerging niche market in the world market and uniquely position the Sri Lanka in the world market. So emerging opportunities. Of course, it was highlighted we won't touch upon, sometimes maybe not worthwhile to existing one. Of course, why not we touch upon high-tech areas. Also at towards the end of the program, as Professor Senaratne already highlighted, ethics and social standards aspects also came into the equation. So I conclude hereby that our meeting today was very successful and achieved intended objectives very successful. Thank you once again, all. Aiboan.
Oh, Aiboan, and good night. Good night. Huh?
Good night.
Meet you at the webinar, our digital platform. Okay. Many thanks. Our appreciation.
Ayubowan.
Ayubowan.